So my name is Donovan Jacks. I am a captain paramedic for Albuquerque Fire Rescue. I am assigned to Station 1, B shift, and I am a graduate of the 77 cadet class.
My name is Keith Quinones, and I'm a retired firefighter. I retired from the station right here in Barelas. I spent most of my career here. First 2 years I spent floating, and then the 20 years after that I spent with about 2 crews here, so yeah.
So when I got here, we had a little bit of a conundrum between the station logos and agreement on what it was and what it should be. I approached our chief at the time, Chief Gene Gallegos, and I talked to him about the street art downtown, how we have the murals, we have bright colors, we have the Hispanic culture down here, and how that ties into Dia de los Muertos, and the vibrant colors and the calaveras and the sugar skulls that most people relate to that. And I talked to Chief Gallegos and I said, hey, we want a sugar skull or a calavera for our logo. So getting 27 people on board to create a logo was pretty time consuming. We had several different versions and several different votes, but we actually came with the help of Dave. We created something that I think was really special.
The cap mentions Dia de los Muertos, right? And the tie-in is when we talk about culture, right? We talk about traditions, and Dia de los Muertos is primarily celebrated in Mexico. But when you think about New Mexico, right, it wasn't but 175 years ago that this was Mexico, right? So it's also celebrated here. The calavera is representative of el más allá, the hereafter. We see it as a celebration of our ancestors, our loved ones, our friends. The thought is that, or the celebration is that you're inviting them into your home, right, to spend time with you. For this to be in this neighborhood, really in any neighborhood, I think you see that truck driving down, you're going to recognize what that is. It's a logo that's, I think, thoughtful, right? It's a logo that folks can look at it, especially in Barelas. Barelas has a long history, right? The Camino Real, which tied Mexico City to Santa Fe, ran through Barelas, right? It came right up. Barelas was a trading post that, people might stop, and, so, yeah, man, it's right where it needs to be, right in the heart of Aztlán, right, where we're at. So, yeah, it's pretty neat,
That's one thing I think, as the older guys in the fire department, that, it's our responsibility to bring up these younger guys and show them how we do things. The fire service is all about tradition. When it came time to, when I started promoting, that was something that I was lucky enough to have officers that I saw that, and I wanted to keep that going. So as I promoted up through the ranks, I wanted to get these younger guys involved, wanted to show them the tradition that we have here. And it's little things like here at our station, we cook every meal. Everybody's in there cutting stuff up, we're cooking, we're hanging out, we're talking. When it comes time to do little things, like pulling weeds around the station, we do it as a crew. When it comes time to wash windows, we do it as a crew. We get it done quick, we have fun doing it, and the little things here, I can build trust here, so when that big fire happens, or that big emergency scene happens, I can trust that person to get their job done.
I say the same thing. I was a romantic as a firefighter. This is the neighborhood that I grew up in as a kid. I wanted to come and ride on a fire truck that drove through the neighborhood that brought me up. So on my ladder truck, we had Eddie Mireles, captain, whose mother was on the other side of Broadway, very close to here. He grew up South Broadway area. I grew up in Barelas here, downtown area. And the baby of the crew, or the youngest, I should say, Eddie Ortega, grew up in Old Town. We had this area covered, right? And we all looked at it as coming back to our community, to help. So I appreciate Captain Jax. I remember him coming in as a rook. I appreciate the way he built his crew, and he tries to turn them into a team. The logo, I think, is something that you can, hold up. It's like holding up a flag. This is who we are. You can kind of rally around that kind of stuff. My advice to people is to remember first that you signed up for this. This is your job, right? And just as a responsible person, we have a job to do. We have all these ties to these communities, right? And it's important to respect that, to respect, the people that are, that are essentially paying our salaries to go out there and help them. We got to take that serious. Yeah, if you're talking about recruiting, this is especially within the communities that you work in. Things like this, things that people can relate to are good ways, to bring them in. But yeah, man, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. It took care of me, took care of my family for almost 23 years, and I retired. And it's taking care of my family today, so, yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for inviting me. Thank you for, bringing me back to my home for what was my home for 20 years, and keep up the good work, man.
Absolutely.
Keep up,
Absolutely.
Keep keeping your guys together,
Yep.
and keep the faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.